ओके। अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। मोक्ष मार्गस्य नेतारम भेतारम कर्म बुभृताम ज्ञातारं विश्वतत्त्वानां वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये। So welcome to the sixth sem. So far your journey of 2.5 years is over and still another 2.5 years to go. So I had given one not LCB, Viva, Viva. I have told you to summarize and it turns out to be very interesting, the kind of journey that you have traversed and your objectives in life and the challenges. So for me also it was a great learning, but most of you have not done, but other batch many have done it. So I'm giving the feedback basis on that basis. So you are all lagging in assignments. So first of all, you are given 21 days to complete it, and you have the option to complete in one page also. Even if you are not able to write one page, you can just orally send across also. Okay, so there are many options available, but if you have a problem, you can always revert us and we will find the solution. But you are not doing on time also and not informing also, it's an unethical thing. Okay, and when you do unethical things, it dents your spiritual progress. So that I would not like to anyone to go through that. So you have all the options. If you have any problem, we can help you out in any way. Right? But you have to tell me. You have to follow the deadlines. Uh, that's the way of doing things meaningfully. Anyway, what has been done is done. But next time you just take care. You let me know if you are having any problem. Okay. So far in this studies of Tattvat Sutra by Acharya Umaswamy, so far we have covered 8 chapters, although we have skipped 2, 3 and 4 because those descriptions were little bit on a higher level. So that's what not our part of syllabus, but as far as the scripture is concerned, it is all there. So first chapter was a general discussion. The second, third, and fourth was about soul element. Then fifth is about non-soul element. Sixth and seventh is about influx. Eighth is about bondage. And ninth is about stoppage and dissociation. And 10th is about liberation. So Tattvat Sutra also explains 7 fundamental elements. Okay. And having clarity on 7 fundamental elements leads to right belief. Okay. And when you manifest right belief, then that is the beginning of the path of liberation. And ultimately you get liberated. So story is very simple and small, but the journey is very exciting, but it is fulfilling. At every stage, at every point, you keep on improving, and that what makes this very interesting. You keep on improving, your clarity increases day by day. So although right belief happens in one moment, but before that there is a journey process that we have to follow, and we are all on to that process. So it's going to be a very exciting journey all the way. Okay. So we just straightway begin the 9th chapter. There are 47 aphorisms here in this 9th chapter, and then the 10th chapter has only 9 aphorisms. 6th semester is the most shortest semester among all the 10 semesters. We could complete this in 30 hours. We are allotted 40 hours. Last sem we did 42 hours. Okay, both the batches. So this week, this time also we will be completing through 40 hours. But in case of emergency, I had completed one batch in 30 hours also. So the teacher was not there for 3-4 months. And then Swanubudhiji told me to do this on a fast track. So we did on a fast track and we completed in 30 hours in a span of 2.5 months. We were doing three classes a week. And then the other teacher came back and the course completed, and they are now ex-students. So I feel that this is the shortest sem that we have, but nevertheless, we will be doing it very vividly and in detail. So Hemali, I have to make you a co-host. I forgot. So you all have physical textbooks with you, whom I have couriered. And those who are abroad, they can take a printout, so you can put notes on it, underline good points. Then there will be some mistakes, very little mistakes, because this is the second time I'm teaching. So the first time all the mistakes were found out and corrected. So we are having a revised version, but still there would be some here and there mistakes that we will be rectifying while we study. Okay, so very good. Pratibhaji, we'll begin with you.
Ninth chapter. Until now, there was a general discussion in the first chapter, and the next 3 chapters have focused on the fundamentals of soul, Jeev Tattva. The 5th chapter on the fundamentals of non-soul, Ajeev Tattva, and the 6th, 7th chapters on the fundamentals of influx, Asra. 8th chapter on the fundamentals of bondage, Bandha Tattva. Now in the 9th chapter, the discussion on fundamentals of stoppage, samvarg, and dissociation of karma, Nijra Tattva, is being introduced. Influx and bondage are essentially the worldly existence itself and the cause of entanglement in it, whereas their absence, elimination in the form of stoppage and dissociation are fundamentally the cause of liberation, the moksha, and thus constitute true path to liberation, moksha marg. The cause in the form of disposition for influx and bondage are delusion, mithyatva, non-restraint, avirati, negligence, pramad, passions, kashai, and activity, yoga. Activity, yoga, being the cause of the bondage of nature and space points, prakriti and pradesh bandh, is not the cause of worldly existence. The remaining 4 dispositions, such as false belief, etc., are of the nature of worldly existence and are also the cause of worldly existence. Among these, the disposition of delusion, mithyatva bhav, is the cause of beginningless transmigration, ananta sansar, because without its absence, the path to liberation does not begin. The pursuit of righteousness, dharma, does not commence. As long as false belief is present, there can be no initiation of real triad of jewels, Nishchay Ratnatraya, consisting of real right belief, Nishchay, Samyak Darshan, and right knowledge and right conduct, Nishchay Charitra. Therefore, if one truly wishes to begin the real path to liberation in an explicit manner, the first and the foremost requirement is the eradication of delusional disposition. One must attack the delusional disposition, mithyatva bhav. The initiation of fundamentals of stoppage and dissociation of karmas occurs only through the absence of wrong belief and the attainment of right belief. From this viewpoint, the ninth chapter is the most important chapter, not only on each aphorism, but on each word of the aphorism. A whole book can be written. And this is not matter of imagination, because I myself have written a book titled Dharma ke Das Lakshan and Bara Bhavna Anusalan, based entirely on the aphorisms related to Dharma and Anupreksha.
Stop. So this is the beginning, the introduction of what consists in what chapters that we already discussed. The causes of bondage. What are the 5 causes of bondage, you know? Can anyone tell me? Himali. What are the 5 causes of bondage? Influx and bondage, both we can say.
I don't know.
So it's there, no?
Yeah.
Delusion, non-restraint, negligence, passions, activity. Mithyatva, avirati, pramad, kashai, and yog. Okay. So these are the 5 causes of bondage. If a bondage happens, these are the only 5 causes, and it's given in a sequence. So first, mithyatva goes in the 4th stage of spiritual development. Then the non-restraint goes away in the 5th stage, partially 5th and partially 6th, 5th and 6th stage of spiritual development. Then negligence goes away in the 7th stage of spiritual development. Then passions goes away at the end of 10th gunasthan. And of course, the activity goes in the 14th stage of spiritual development, and then you get liberated. So the journey begins with the eradication of delusion. Okay. And to get rid of delusion, that should be our prime objective in this life. Because from time immemorial, the soul has been existing. And because of this delusion, we are transmigrating and suffering like anything in all the 4 state of existence. Okay. Although we may not remember what happened in our past birth, we start fresh in the next birth. Okay. But still, we can very reasonably say that a kid who's just right now born, say in Ambani family, he is given water or whatever in a golden spoon. And there is another kid who is born in a, poor family. He is not even given water also. Why? Why such difference? What they have done in one hour of birth? So that means there are some past connections, and that is the karma theory altogether. Okay. So what we have got is all our past deeds that we have done is the result of all past deeds. So the delusion, that is one of the most important thing that we should get rid of to get into the path of liberation. And once we get into the path of liberation, then we are not going to take infinite time to get liberated. Then it is very simple. Once you get into the path of liberation, the samvara and nirjara, the stoppage and dissociation starts happening. Okay. And this stoppage and dissociation could become so fast that in the next birth only you can get liberated. Jia, today we are here, and the next birth you will get liberated. It could be that fast, So all our time, energy, effort should be dedicated in the study of these 7 fundamental elements and manifest stoppage element. That's the beginning of the path of liberation. So this chapter is about stoppage element, and we are going to discuss stoppage element from the real point of view and from the conventional point of view. Of course, this particular text, Tattva Sutra, is written in a conventional form. So the conventional causes of the stoppage element will be discussed here. Okay. But what about the real cause? What would be the real viewpoint cause for this stoppage? Taking shelter of the soul. We have been taking shelter of external substances since time immemorial, but we never took shelter of our soul, because we never established the identity, the existence of the soul, right? So there was no, I would say, attempt to find the soul. But now, right now, with this Jinvani's exposure, we know that there are two elements in this body. One is a body, another is a soul. The body is alive because of the soul. Body itself is a dead body right now. It is because of the soul that it's functioning. And although there exists a instrumental cause and effect relationship between the body and the soul, but from the real point of view, they are both separate entity. One is a matter substance, one is a soul substance. Okay. So stoppage element is a very important element, because from there the journey of path of liberation begins. So we will understand the conventional aspects of stoppage. The real aspect is only one. You have to take shelter of the self. Once you take shelter of your pure soul, the stoppage elements originates. Okay, that's the beginning of the purity. And then in dissociation, that purity increases, and that purity gets completed, and you get liberation. Okay, so the journey begins with the initiation of purity, that is stoppage, then increase of that purity gradually, that is dissociation, and the completeness of purity, that is liberation. Okay, so the 6 tools that Acharya Umaswamy has described in this chapter, in the 9th chapter, are Gupti. Gupti is restraint. Then Samiti, carefulness. Then we have Das Dharma. We had one chapter on Das Dharma, one book, total book. Dr. Bharilji has written Das Lakshan Dharma. So that is the 3rd tool. 4th tool is Bara Bhavna. 12 reflections, 12 contemplations. Okay. Then the 5th tool is 22 kinds of hardships. And the last one is the conduct, 5 types of conduct. So these are the 6 tools that we will discuss under the stoppage element. And then when we move on to the dissociation element, nirjara, then one additional tool will add to this, and that is called austerity, tapa. Okay. So these 7 tools are cause of stoppage and dissociation. Okay, from the conventional side. So while we will study this from the conventional aspect, but each tool has a real aspect attached to it also. So we will understand that real aspect also. What is Gupti from the real point of view? What is Gupti from the conventional point of view? Similarly, all the tools, we will see it from the real point of view and from the conventional point of view. That is because we are studying the commentary written by Dr. Bharilji. If you study the main scripture, Tattva Sutra, then they have only mentioned the conventional causes. Okay. But the commentators does this job, that what is not given in that particular text, they add it extra and complete the whole picture. For completing the whole picture, we have to know both the aspects, the real point of view and the conventional point of view, and that completes the picture. So now you know the whole picture. So if I discuss from conventional, you are still okay. If I discuss from real, you are still okay, because you know both the viewpoints, right? So when I am discussing from the real point of view, although I am not talking anything about conventional, but in your knowledge, you know the conventional aspect also. And when I'm talking the conventional aspect, you also know the real aspect in your mind, right? So you also able to see the whole picture at a glance. Okay. Okay. So we will begin with the stoppage element, aphorism number 1, 2, 3, and then continuing, we will see that there is one aphorism for each of the 6 tools: Gupti, Samiti, Das, Dharma, Anupreksha, Parisha, and Charitra. Okay. These 6 tools that we are going to discuss in detail one by one. And then, of course, the TAP, 12 kinds of austerities that we are going to discuss. And that's the whole chapter is all about. Samvar and Nirjara. Samvar, 6 conventional causes. Nirjara, 1 conventional cause. Okay, that's all. So we begin with Roshni, you read fundamentals of stoppages of karmas from there.
Now we begin the discussion on the fundamentals of stopping karmas. Asrav Nirodha Samvara. Sa Gupti Samiti Dharmanupreksha Pari Sahajaya Charitra Tapasa Nirjara Cha. The disposition that causes the cessation of influx, asrav, is called stoppage, samvar. This stoppage is achieved through restraint, gupti, carefulness, samiti, righteousness, dharma, contemplation, anupreksha, conquest of hardships, parishaya jaya, and conduct, charitra. Along with austerity, tap, both stoppage and dissociation of karma take place. Dispositions such as delusion, etc., are psychic influx, bhav ashram. They are the causes of influx, ashram. The cessation of or absence of these dispositions like delusion, etc., is called stoppage, samvar. Stoppage is of 2 types: psychic stoppage, bhav samvar, material stoppage, dravya samvar. The definition given in Dravya Sangra is as follows. कर्म रुकना द्रव्य संवर और उसके हेतु जो शुद्ध आत्मा के भाव वे ही भाव संवर जानिए. The stoppage of the influx of karmic particles is called material stoppage, dravya samvar, and the inner dispositions through which this influx is halted, those detached states, vitrag parinam, or parinam, of one's own soul, should be understood as psychic stoppage, bhav samvar. This stoppage is accomplished by observing the 3 restraints, guptis, practicing the 5 carefulness, samitis, upholding the 10 virtues, thus dharma, contemplating the 12 reflections, dvadasha anupreksha, conquering the 22 hardships, parishaha, and followed by the 5 types of conduct, charitra. The detailed analysis of this will be continued later through aphorisms and logical discourse. Hence, it is not necessary to elaborate them here. Their general nature is as follows. The disposition of protecting the soul from impure dispositions such as delusion is called restraint, gupti, and the disposition of engaging in activity with deliberate care and discipline, motivated by the intent to protect the soul from impure dispositions like false belief, is called carefulness, samiti. Those noble dispositions, like the supreme virtue of forgiveness, which when adopted liberate the soul from worldly beings, those superior virtuous dispositions are called righteousness, dharma. Contemplating the futility of worldly existence, the body, and sensual pleasures is called contemplation, anupreksha. Overcoming hardships like hunger, thirst, and other sufferings with calm, composed feelings is called victory over hardships, parishay. Right belief and right knowledge, accompanied by self-awareness, atmadhyan, and self-absorption, constitute right conduct. In this context, the refined statement of Acharya Pujyapad deserves attention. The stoppage of karmic influx can be achieved only through restraint and related practices, not by any other means. This statement invalidates acts such as going on pilgrimages, performing ceremonial ablutions, abhishek, taking initiation, diksha, offerings one's head as a gift, or engaging in the worship of deities, celestial beings, because karma acquired due to attachment, aversion, and delusion, moha, cannot be nullified by any other means. The supreme state of inner and outer restraints is called austerity, tap. In the Tavla, the restraint of desires is referred to as austerity. Acharya Jaisen has defined austerity as follows. Samasta ragadi parabhav icha tyagin swarupe pratapanam vijayanam tapa. To renounce all desire for external influences such as attachment, rag, and other passions, and to dwell in one's own nature, to burn impurities and attain inner conquest, this is known as austerity, tap. The reason for discussing austerity, tap, in a separate aphorism is that through austerity, not only is there stoppage of karma, but there is also a distinct and significant dissociation of karma as well. Restraint, gupti, and carefulness, samiti.
On mute.
Stop. Okay. So in these three aphorisms, they have introduced the definitions of stoppage and dissociation. So dissociation is through austerity. Okay. Of course, both stoppage and dissociation happens through austerity. But if we talk only of dissociation, then austerity is the additional tool. And for stoppage, we already discussed the 6 tools. Okay. So this stoppage is of two types, psychic stoppage and material stoppage. So here mostly the material stoppage would be discussed because this is a conventional description, but simultaneously we will be also discussing about the psychic part also, the psychic stoppage. So psychic stoppage is going to happen when you take shelter of the soul, and that is the time you manifest the purity, and to the extent the purity is manifest, to that extent you don't manifest attachments and aversions. Okay. So initially at the 4th stage, you have got rid of Anandano Bandi Kashai. Okay. So that much passionlessness, that much detachment has been manifested. That is stoppage. That is the stoppage element. Okay. And of course, because of that internal purity or because of that passionlessness, the dissociation is also happening. Okay. So 6 tools we have already discussed. The additional one is the stoppage. So stoppage happens through austerity. Okay. And the very good definition that is given in Dhaula is the restraint of desires. Okay. So desire is the chief cause of all our influx and the karmic bondage. Okay. So the restraint of desire. Now how you can restrain desire? Because desire itself is an alien disposition, and we are not the controller or doer of that disposition. So how do you restrain desire? Can anyone try? Although logically I have told you indirectly, but how the restraint of desire happens? Every time we have some kind of desire to do this, to do that, to this, that. Yeah, try, Himani.
So, because we've learned that, when you desire something, the ocean of desire is so large that your desires will never get complete. There's not enough material to fulfill everyone's desire. And when one desire ends, another desire will crop up. So, so we need to understand that,
the desires can't be fulfilled. That is true. But how do you stop that? That is the question.
So,
Causes of desire and the function of desire that you have said is quite correct. That the one desire gets fulfilled, then another crops up, and then the the ocean of desire is so big that whatever material available throughout the universe is of not even 1% also. So that is true that desires can be fulfilled. Okay. And the third cause is when there is a desire, the object is not there. And when you receive the object, the desire has gone. So there is a mismatch of time between the desire and getting that particular object physically. So there is no point in doing any kind of desire. But how do we stop that desire? That is the question. It is not fulfilling the desire is a solution to stop desire, right? Because if you fulfill, then another desire crops up. So how do we get completely stoppage of desires?
Take
Yeah.
shelter in
Understand the
soul.
difference between
Yeah, Roshni, first you try. Yeah.
Oh, understand the difference between Atma and Paratma. Not Paratma, but Par. Swa and Par.
Swa and Par. Okay, good try. Yeah, Amita ji.
So when one realizes that I am an independent soul and that all my desire is usually for seeking happiness, and happiness is the gun of the Atma. So when one uses that kind of logic, then you automatically don't have desires.
Good, good. All have done very good try. But the real answer is that when you take shelter in your soul, okay, you manifest purity, right? Purity of modification. So to the extent you have achieved that purity, like at the fourth stage, Anantanubandhi desire has gone. But rest of the desires are there. So when you get to the fifth stage, apratyakhyanavaran desire has gone. So the solution is that desire cannot be stopped from outside. When you take shelter in the soul, the purity that you manifest, the passionlessness, the detachment that you manifest, to that extent desire has gone. Okay. So when you manifest complete purity, 100% purity, then your desire has gone completely. Okay. So this is how the desire will go away. At the fourth stage, you will not have Anantanubandhi desire. At the fifth stage, you will not have Apratyakhan desire. At the sixth, seventh stage, you will not have Pratyakhan desire. And at the 12th stage, you will not have the Sanjalan desire also. Okay. So gradually it will go. So desire is an function of charitra moh, passions, passions, 25 kinds of passions. So desire is also in that category itself. So as Roshni said that you have to discriminate between the self and the non-self. As Amita ji said that when you uh, take shelter of your soul and you be satisfied, then the desire doesn't crop up. So desire doesn't crop up, that is a solution, and not fulfilling the desire is a solution. Okay. So a very good definition given in Daula. Restraint of desire is referred to as austerity. This is the true austerity, real austerity. Okay. And then from conventional aspect, we will be of course studying the 12 austerities like fasting and all. So those are there, but the real point of view austerity is just one, that is taking shelter of the soul and manifesting the purity. Okay. Manifesting the purity, manifesting detachment, manifesting passionlessness. To that extent, desire doesn't crop up. Okay. So all solutions will come from within by taking shelter of the soul. The beginning of the path of liberation is also by taking shelter of the soul. Progress in the path of liberation is also by taking shelter of the soul, and the completion of the path is also by taking shelter in the soul. So all our Jinvani just leads us to this taking shelter of the soul. Okay. So Ved Vigyan is also taking shelter of the soul. Okay. So one thing you should remember, that whatever is being said from the conventional point of view, okay, different tools, different objects, the real point would be only one, and that is the taking shelter of the pure soul. diverting active consciousness from external objects towards the self. And when you direct that active consciousness, upyog, towards the self, it mixes with the soul, it dissolves in the soul, and the pure awareness, shuddhopyog, pure disposition, that manifest, and that is the beginning, that is the stage of self-realization, that is the stage of self-experience. Okay, so there the journey begins, and from there the desires gets eradicated gradually, gradually. Even a monk who is in the seventh stage, the sixth, seventh stage, they also have desire. What kind of desire they have? Write the scriptures. Why they should write the scriptures? Because somebody after 2000 years will come, he should also get this path, and he should also realize his true self. That is the desire. Okay, so they do have desires, but the category of desires changes. Okay, at the first level you have desires of sensual pleasures, then at the fourth stage also this desire continues. Fifth stage there is a little bit of restraint, and then sixth, seventh stage, of course you don't have those sensual desires, but you have desire to write the scriptures, you have desire to address somebody, instruct somebody, do their solutions, then you have desire to get someone into the path of monkhood. You know, all these desires are there at the monk level. Okay, so desire will go away at the end of 10th stage, and 12th stage, the first moment, you are desireless. Okay, you are passionless, you are desireless. Okay, so this is how the journey would be. Okay, so very good beginning. Now we will continue and read one tool at a time. We begin with two tools, Gupte and Samiti, restraint and carefulness. Okay, so another name for carefulness is vigilant conduct, but carefulness is a good term. So we have used carefulness, but some of the places they forgot to change this word. Uh, as a policy, we decided that we will use standard words everywhere. So for Samiti, we use carefulness. Okay, and that also justifies the true meaning of Samiti also. But vigilant conduct was earlier used. So at some point of time, we will see those words cropping up here and there, but we have to correct. Okay, so this is what we are going to start now. Gupti and Samiti. We will all understand from the conventional way also, and then Todarmalji has given the real point of view also, which is very interesting, and that is what I am going to discuss in detail. Rest of the things you can just read and understand. Okay, nothing great about those. Okay, so Himali, you start reading.
Restraint, Gupti, and carefulness, Samiti. After enumerating the causes of the influx, we now discuss restraint and carefulness. Samyak Yog, Nigraho Gupti, Irya Bhasya Esna, Adana Nikshep, Utsarg Samitiye. The proper restraint of the activity of the three yogs, mind activity, speech activity, and body activity, is called self-restraint, Gupti. The 5 vigilant conducts, Samiti, are: first, carefulness in walking, Irya Samiti; carefulness in speech, Bhasya Samiti; carefulness in seeking alms, Eshna Samiti; carefulness in handling and placing objects, Adana Nikshep Samiti; carefulness in disposing of bodily waste, Utsarga Samiti. The discussion of activities of mind, speech, and body has already been elaborated in the context of influx in the 6th chapter. Here is a brief reference to that. The association of the soul's active consciousness, upyog, with the mind is called mind activity, maniyog. The association of the soul's active consciousness, upyog, with the speech is called vachan yog. The association of the soul's active consciousness, upyog, with the body is called kaya. Similarly, the non-association of the soul's active consciousness, upyog, with the mind is called restraint of the mind, manogupti. The non-association with speech is called restraint of speech, vachan gupti, and the non-association with body is called restraint of the body, kaya gupti. Even for ascetic monks, Muniraj, it is not possible to maintain such restraints, gupti, continuously at all times. Therefore, engaging in absolutely necessary activity with utmost caution is called carefulness in conduct, samiti. Walking, speaking, taking food, handling the soft whisk, peachy, and water pond, pot, kamandani, and excretion of stool and urine. These are all such essential activities that even ascetics must perform in order to stay alive. The brief form of the five carefulness samitis is as follows. Just like with the restrained guptis, it is essentially to prefix the term right, which is samyak, to the carefulness as well. First, right carefulness while movement, samyak iriya samiti. Samyak iriya samiti. When the sun has risen and the light has spread enough for all objects to be clearly visible to the eyes, at that time to walk slowly on a path that has become purified, prashuk, due to being frequently used by people, looking 4 hands ahead on the ground, withdrawing the mind from all directions. This is called right carefulness conduct while movement, samyak iriya samiti. Right carefulness in speech, samyak bhasya samiti. To speak words that are beneficial, limited, pleasant, and free from doubt is called right carefulness in speech. A monk who upholds the principle of right carefulness in speech does not speak, first, false speech, second, speech that involves slander, third, unpleasant speech, fourth, words filled with passion, kashai, fifth, words that create division, sixth, useless or insignificant speech, seventh, words filled with doubt, eighth, confusing or misleading words. Ninth, jokes or laughter inducing talk. 10th, inappropriate or irrelevant speech. 11th, uncivil speech. 12th, harsh speech. 13th, speech that supports non righteousness, adharma. And the last one, 14th, excessive flattering or praising words. Third, right carefulness while seeking alms, samyak eshna samiti. To go once during the day to a householder's home and with reverence as described in the ninefold devotion, Navada Bhakti, accept faultless food that is free from the defects of being done by oneself, done by others, or approved by oneself. Karta Krata Karita Anumodna, while standing and receiving it only in one's own palm's bowl, Panipatra, is called right carefulness while seeking alms. Right carefulness in handling objects, Samyak Adana Nikshep Samiti. To carefully place down and pick up religious items such as scriptures, water pot, kamandalu, etc. So it's kamandal, no?
No, it is also said kamandalu.
Okay. Only after ensuring that they are free from living beings, jeev, by checking and cleaning with pichi is called right carefulness in handling objects. Right carefulness in disposal of excretory matter, samyak utsarga samiti. To dispose of excretory substance like stool and urine only on clean, living being free ground in such a way that it does not cause harm or disturbance to mobile, thrus, or immobile, sthavar living beings is called right carefulness in disposal of excretory waste. In this way, these three restraints, gupti, and 5 vigilant conducts, samiti, are causes of the stoppage of karmic influx, samvar. Thus, we see that the restraints are of the nature of renunciation, while carefulness are of the nature of engagement. Pravritti Rupa. Pravritti Rupa. Or it may also be said that restraints are careful engagements within the self, and vigilant conducts are extremely cautious engagements in the external world.
Stop. So this vigilant conduct is nothing but carefulness. Okay. So some places they have they have not changed the word. So you to understood that this is carefulness only. Okay. So you see both these tools, the Gupti and the Samiti, okay, basically they are in the life of a monk. Okay. So at the householder level, you cannot have this kind of restraint at a householder level, but at a monk level, these are observed. Okay. So 3 Guptis and 5 Samitis. Now, this mind, speech, and body are not our, we are not the owner of that. Okay. So how do you stop thinking? How do you stop talking? And how do you stop movement of your body? Okay. So this is something that is a fallout of taking shelter of the soul and immersing in them. Okay. So when your active consciousness is engrossed in the self, that is the time no activity by body, by speech happens, and the thoughts also stop coming. Nirvikalp, thoughtless situation. So that is something that happens when you take shelter in the soul and you engrossed, immerse in that. Okay. So that is the real Gupti that we are going to read here in Todermalji's comment. Okay. He has explained very nicely. We are going to that. But before that, just simple discussions on the carefulness that a monk observes. So tomorrow, if you start doing all these 5 samiti, we will not be able to do it. At our level, it's not possible to maintain such a thing, right? Within 5 minutes, you have to finish this, that, and you have to go to the office. How we are going to observe samiti? You tell me. So these are at the level of monk. They have renounced house. They don't have to arrange for food. No, they don't have to earn nothing. Okay. So this naked, possessionless monk are the true holders of this kind of carefulness. But nevertheless, we also study because tomorrow we are also going to become monk, not in this birth, then the next birth. Okay. So that's why we are studying this. So right carefulness while movement. Okay. So they see the 4 feet ahead, they see at the path, and then they only walk. So if 2 sensed, 3 sensed beings are passing through, so at least they can restrain from that kind of violence. Okay. So that is
Sir,
the
I have a
idea.
question.
Yes.
Sir, in our day-to-day life, तो ऐसा है क्या कि पूरा प्रत्याखानावरण ये मतलब कंप्लीट वाउ प्रिवेंटिंग फैशंस ये मतलब एटलीस्ट टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट वी फॉलो एंड ये पॉसिबल हो सकता है
To certain extent it is possible and that you should do, and to certain extent it will not happen at this stage. So but at least in your intention, that we have to minimize the violence as much as we can. Okay. So if you have opened the tap, you cannot misuse water. You have to judiciously use the water, everything, whatever you want to do. Okay. So there is carefulness in every activity that we do, and that carefulness only arises when you see that the other are also living beings. So it's our collective responsibility to take care of 2 sense, 3 sense beings, because they are also soul like us, right? So they also have the right and privilege to have a good life. So when we are careless, so the violence increases, and when we are careful, there is minimal violence. So that we always take care at our level, but the kind of carefulness that a monk observe, that is not possible
Not
at
possible.
our level.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we can very well understand and try to minimize as much as we can. Okay, so this is what we can do.
Yeah.
The next is
Thank you.
right carefulness in speech. To speak words that are beneficial, hit, then limited, myth, and pleasant, priya. Hit, myth, priya, vachan. Okay, so that is beneficial, limited, and pleasant. So monks doesn't give lectures like this. We have in Parmagam honors 2 hours. Monks say very few words, and that also when he feels that the seeker is a real seeker and he just utters a few words, and those few words create a great impact in the mind of that seeker, and he understands it properly, and he gets into the path of his own development. Okay, so the words are very limited, very beneficial, and of course pleasant, and free from doubt. So monk will never such give words, will not talk such words that will uh, create a doubt in the mind of the seeker. So he'll always, his words and his speech is always like that. That is called right carefulness in speech. Then we have right carefulness while seeking alms. Okay, so when the monks goes to seek alms, so there are certain carefulness that he has to observe, and he does it that way only. So he takes food while standing, because if you sit, then there will be a certain level of procrastination. So you will eat food more, right? So they eat food, supposing their capacity is 100%, so they will eat only 25 to 50%. So that will keep their awareness, they will always be in the awareness level. Okay, so they will be in a better position to practice discriminative knowledge. Okay, if they eat fully, then there will be some negligence, procrastination. They will not be able to follow the conduct of a monk. So this right carefulness while seeking alms also, and uh, they take alms while standing and receiving it only in one's own palms bowl. So they don't use plates and all, They will take foods in their own palms, and that also only 32, what you call, measles, no? કોડિયાને શું કહેવાય? Some word is there.
Portion or bites?
Bites, and there is another good
Portion.
word. No, it is something like measles or
Measure? Measure?
how do you spell it?
MEASURE. Measures?
No, not measure. Last is measles. LES. Last is measles. Or...
Morsels.
Morsels, correct.
Morsels.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right,
Even
right.
I was.
Yeah. Morsels. So that is the correct word. So 32 morsels only. And in that, the water and everything is included, So that is how the monks take alms, The fourth one is right carefulness in handling objects. So the monks have three only, maximum three. The first one is a water pot, kamandal. Then they could carry the scriptures. And the third one is the feather of a peacock, peachy, So to carefully place down and pick up religious items such as scriptures, water pot, and the feather, only after ensuring they are free from living beings by checking and cleaning with the peachy feather is called right carefulness in handling objects. The last one is right carefulness in disposal of excretory waste. Okay, Samyak Utsarg Samiti, to dispose of excretory substances like stool and urine only on clean, living being free ground in such a way that it does not cause harm or disturbance to mobile thrust. Two sensed and above is thrust, or immobile, one sensed beings, tower, living beings. This is called right carefulness in disposal of excretory waste. So you see the kind of awareness, the carefulness that a monk observes. Okay. It is a fallout of the passions that they have got rid of. Three levels of passions: Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhan, and Pratyakhan. Only mild Sanjwalan Kashai, flaming passion is there. Okay. Rest of all he has got rid of. And in that level, this kind of observations happen naturally. They don't have to plan it out, it happens naturally. While sitting, while standing, walking, everywhere have this kind of carefulness. Now, we will get to the Todermalji's words. Just have to uh, put in the battery recharge plug. So, who will read? Amitaji, you read. Todermalji's words you read, then I will explain.
The thoughts of Todarmalji regarding restraint and carefulness are as follows. One considers it to be restraint when a person ceases external activities of mind, speech, and body, does not engage in sinful thoughts, maintains silence, and refrains from actions like movement. However, in such a case, the mind still engages in various auspicious psychic thoughts, vikalp, born from devotional or praiseworthy attachment, shubharaga, and the restraint over speech and body is self imposed. That is a virtuous activity, shubha pravritti, and in activity, true gupti does not exist. Therefore, only when there is a state free from attachment and aversion, vitrag bhav, and there is no activity of mind, speech, or body, that alone is considered true restraint, gupti. And one considers the conscious effort in conduct undertaken for the protection. Whoops, sorry, think I messed up. I'm sorry, yeah. Okay. And one considers the conscious effort in conduct undertaken for the protection of other living beings as carefulness, samiti. And if one considers sinful dispositions as violence, himsa, and you claim that auspicious dispositions of protecting as cause of stoppage of karmic influx somewhere, then what in that case would be the cause of bondage of meritorious karma, punya bandha? Moreover, in being careful while seeking alms, Asana Samiti, one merely avoids faults. The purpose there is not protection. Therefore, carefulness is not essentially for the purpose of protection alone. So, what?
Stop. So you see, first paragraph, they have seen the natural nature of Gupti that we already studied right before. Okay. So therefore, last line of the first paragraph. Therefore, only when there is a state free from attachment and aversion, that is vitraga bhav, and there is no activity of mind, speech, and body, that is alone is considered true restraint. So you see, true restraint happens. How it happens? That when you get yourself engaged in your pure soul, then automatically there is no activity of mind, speech, and body. So that is a true restraint. Doing it from outside is a conventional method, but the real is this one only. Okay. So you have to take shelter of your soul, get immersed in it, focus on it, concentrate on it, and automatically the activity of mind, speech, and body stops. That's a fallout. That's a byproduct of what you are doing. Okay. So when you are in meditation, deep introspective meditation, at that time, you don't have any activity of mind, speech, and body, and that is true restraint. Okay. And this para is also very interesting. And one considers the conscious effort in conduct undertaken for the protection of other living beings as carefulness, samiti. Okay. But if one considers sinful disposition as violence, and you claim that auspicious dispositions of protecting, okay, so killing is a violence is anyway, right? Correct. But auspicious disposition of protecting, so protecting is an auspicious disposition, and if you consider that as a cause of stoppage, then in that case, what would be the cause of bondage of meritorious karma? Okay. So the cause of meritorious karma, if you consider it as a cause of stoppage, then it's a wrong understanding of samvar element. Okay. Stoppage element. It's a wrong understanding, because through auspicious disposition, the stoppage doesn't happen. Through auspicious disposition, there is a bondage. Okay. So bondage and stoppage does not run simultaneously, right? So the same disposition which causes a bondage will not cause a stoppage. Okay. And the disposition that causes stoppage will not cause a bondage. Okay. So here say, considering sinful disposition as violence, and you claim that auspicious disposition of protecting as cause of stoppage of karmic influx, then in that case, what would be the cause of bondage of meritorious karma? Okay. So this auspicious disposition of protecting is a bondage of meritorious karma. This is the true understanding of stoppage element. Okay. Auspicious and inauspicious, both kind of sentiments or disposition are a cause of bondage and not a cause of stoppage. Okay. Moreover, in being careful while seeking alms, one merely avoids faults. The purpose is there is not protection. Therefore, carefulness is not essentially for the purpose of protection alone. But there is a deeper meaning of carefulness, and that is explained in the next paragraph. So what is true carefulness? Okay. As we understood true gupti, true restraint. Okay. When you are immersed in yourself, when you are engaged in yourself, at that time, no activity of mind, speech, and body happens. That is true restraint. Similarly, what is true carefulness? That is coming up. When ascetics have even a slight trace of attachment, their bodily activities such as movement occur. Without attachment, there would not be any activity of mind, speech, and body. Okay. So when there is a passion or attachment or aversion, something coming up, then only there is an activity of mind, speech, and body. And because of that mind, speech, and body activity, there is a vibration at the soul space points. And because of that vibrations, the influx and bondage happens, that we all know. Okay. So here we want to say something very deep. Okay. However, since there is no excessive attachment in those actions, because we are talking at the monks level, so monks doesn't have excessive attachment in those actions. There is no activity that take the form of negligence. Negligence is not there. Although the mind, speech, and body activity is there, but with carefulness. So negligence is not there. Nor do they fulfill their purposes like walking, etc., by causing harm or sorrow to other living beings, because there is complete awareness, carefulness in their activities. Therefore, compassion occurs naturally. In this way, this is true carefulness. Now, this 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 activity itself of carefulness, it leads to true carefulness in the sense that there is the level that they have achieved, the kind of detachment that they have manifested, the kind of purity that they have manifested, that is the true samiti, that is the true gupti. Okay, so the level of vitrakta, the level of purity, that is what defines stoppage and dissociation, and that is the true gupti and true samiti in the right sense. In reality, the real restraint, carefulness are of the nature of passionless disposition, vitrag bhav. Okay, so vitrag bhav is true samiti, vitrag bhav is true gupti. Okay, experiential realization, है ना, अनुभूति स्वरूप, pure disposition, and pure attentive consciousness. This pure attentive consciousness, Shuddhopyog, okay, this Shuddhopyog is also expressed as pure awareness. It is also expressed as deep introspective meditation. So we use three words for Shuddhopyog: pure attentive consciousness, pure awareness, and deep introspective meditation. So at that time, there is a complete carefulness and there is complete gupti. Okay, because that is the state of self-realization, shuddhopyog. Okay, carefulness in the form of pure attentive consciousness and its pure modification, that is the true cause of stoppage of karmic influx. The external action, the auspicious disposition associated with restraint and carefulness, not vigilant conduct, carefulness, are not causes of stoppage of karmic influx. They are causes of bondage of meritorious karma. Okay, so what leads to meritorious bondage of meritorious karma, and what leads to the passionless disposition, that you should identify, right? So activity of mind, speech and body, auspicious activity, that will lead to bondage. But simultaneously, the time that you manifest this passionless disposition, the purity that continues with you as at a monk level, you know, that is the cause of true carefulness and true restraint. It is in the form of vitrag bhav, passionless disposition, and that is true religion. The enlightened virtuous monks
Sir,
possesses both type of restraint and carefulness. Yeah.
सर इतना प्योरिटी तो अपने है ही है बिकॉज वी आर जेन्स
वो है, लेकिन वो बाहर से है ना, या अंदर की बात चल रही है, अंदर की पैशनलेस डिस्पोजिशन आया ना.
वो
इन
तो
रियलिटी द रियल रिस्ट्रेंट केयरफुलनेस आर ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ passionless dispositions, vitrag bhav, experiential realization, anubhuti swarup, pure disposition, shuddha bhav, and pure attentive consciousness, shuddhopyog. ठीक
तो
है, तो
सर
जितने टाइम आप सामायिक में बैठे हो, शुद्धोपयोग में बैठे हो, उतने टाइम रियल गुप्ति समिति है.
तो ये जो अपने मन में आता है कि वी शुड नॉट हर्ट एनीबॉडी
ये क्या है,
तो
शुभ भाव है कि शुद्ध भाव है?
शुभ
हाँ, तो शुभ भाव है, तो शुभ भाव से तो बंद होता है.
जी
यहां बता रहे हैं शुद्ध भाव, प्योर
या
अटेंटिव कॉन्शियसनेस,
तो अपन को यही सोचना है कि फॉर लिबरेशन दिस इज द थिंग दैट आई हैव टू डू विदाउट पैशंस
यस, पैशनलेसनेस इज ओनली द रिलीजन,
एंड ये
राइट?
मॉन्कहुड में ही आएगा.
नहीं, इधर अपने लेवल पे ऑस्पिशियस तो है ही,
हम्म,
इनऑस्पिशियस भी है, और ये भी हो सकता है पैशनलेस डिस्पोजिशन. ये फोर्थ स्टेज से स्टार्ट होता है, तो फोर्थ स्टेज के लिए मॉन्क बनने की जरूरत नहीं है. यू कैन वेरी वेल बी ए हाउस होल्डर, हाउस वाइफ, ये सब फोर्थ एंड फिफ्थ स्टेज यू कैन स्टिल अचीव. Fifth stage, of course, it's at a higher level. They also renounce home and everything. Okay. But fourth stage is very well achieved. And at that fourth stage, there is a Shuddhopyog. Of course, frequency is very less, but it's there. Yeah, Hemali.
So I think what Maltiji is saying, from what I understand, sir, please correct me if I'm wrong. So,
Madhuji.
sorry, Madhu, is sorry that when so like what she's saying, even when we walk, we hope that we will not kill any germs, insects, or whatever. Like she's saying,
That
but
is
so
fine.
I think for a monk, उनकी इच्छा तो है ही कि we should not do any of that, but it is, I think, uh, you know, it's a step ahead. They move a step ahead by ensuring that not only do you have that bhav, but that bhav also converts to conduct through carefulness.
That bhav doesn't convert to conduct. The conduct arises by taking shelter in the soul. Simultaneously, the level of that conduct is such that along with that, the auspicious sentiments that they hold are of such category that restraint, carefulness automatically gets observed. They don't have to do it. It's a very natural phenomena. Like at our level right now. Okay, we are all mumukshus, we are all seekers, right? So if you are given a choice, you will go to a non-veg restaurant or a veg restaurant.
Veg.
Of course, veg. So you have to do anything extra for that? It's embedded in your values that no, I will not go there. Whatever, if I lose a business, if I lose a position, I will carry with that, but I will not go. Such kind of firmness have come in you because of the belief. Okay, because of the belief. And the monk, apart from belief, they are also ahead in the at the conduct level. So that belief gets reflected at the conduct level also. And they are able to observe this because the firmness in belief, the kind of purity that they have manifested, along with that, the auspicious sentiments that they carry, through that, all these are observed naturally. No extra effort. As for us, no extra effort to not to go a non-veg restaurant. We don't take it as an achievement because it's a very part and parcel of our life.
Yeah.
Right. So similarly, it's this like that.
But for instance, sir, if I'll just take your example a step ahead. So, Madhuji, if you was, let's assume you're in Bangalore, and if you have to go to Baswangudi, and you will not walk it up, you'll still take the car.
Yes.
So I think like a monk will not do that,
Yeah. So there the lifestyle is entirely different from a householder, but we have a partial kind of a restraint in our life. They have a complete kind of like that.
So for us, we are slightly attached to the small organisms. And because of attachment, we are careful. That and the monk's level is a little more higher कि हमको तो liberation चाहिए. तो this is all.
तो आपको क्या चाहिए? आपको क्या चाहिए? आपको संसार चाहिए?
नहीं मेरे को संसार नहीं चाहिए.
आपको भी लिबरेशन चाहिए.
जी.
You are also liberation. We are
लेकिन उन लोग अटैचमेंट से और भी एक स्टेप हाई है.
हाँ, they are at the college level, we are at nursery level. That's all. Both are learning, both are going to school, but they are at the college level, we are at the nursery level. So it is only the level of implements that's only a difference. Both have that same goal of liberation, both have that same goal of not causing any kind of violence. But at our level, there are some unavoidable things and there are some avoidable things that we do avoid. Okay. And so for them also, certain things are there and certain things are not there, but the levels are different. That's all.
So last में यही contemplation में आता है कि monkhood is the last thing to do.
Yes.
Because
before getting liberated, you will definitely become monk. Because monks only get liberated, right? Yes. Householder doesn't get liberated.
No, वही हर जगह यही स्टॉपेज आ जाता है कि contemplation के बाद.
कुछ स्टॉप नहीं है, स्टॉपेज नहीं है. See, you are the king of your journey, right? आपका भाव में क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, वो आपके हाथ में है, right? You have a choice to see TV, you have a choice to study, Similarly, at higher levels, as you go ahead, you have a choice to do meditation, you have a choice to do scriptural study. ठीक है, तो ऐसे आगे आगे धीरे धीरे बढ़ते हैं. ठीक है, तो प्रोसेस है, वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
I had a thought. I was very curious to know like the number of monks that are there now, since we talk about monkhood, like wanting that in the next bhav. But like I found out that there's just like 400 Digambar Jain monks in the world right now. So then why are more people not attaining monkhood? Because that is what will eventually lead to liberation, and that's what we want.
So 400, the figure that you have said, they are not the true monks.
Exactly. So within that, they are not true monks.
Why
So
not true monks? Only one qualification you have to check, whether they take alms in a planned way or they take alms naturally, right? So the monks doesn't say that I will go tomorrow to Himali's place and tomorrow to Jia's place. No, for them there are bidding happening. Who will give the first arm? Who will give the second arms? You know, biddings going on, high level of biddings. So that's not true monkhood. You know, the true monks are, they will go with their own limitations, that I will take food from a lady who has no hairs on his head, then who has shackles on his legs, and these are the things that they think in their mind, and only they get those conditions, then only they take food. Okay,
So, but
so
now,
those,
are there that many monks, like people wanting to become monks? Like, if we are talking about wanting to become monk in the next bhav, but the times right now, I don't think there are that many people who follow those traditions as well. Like,
so the traditions, if they don't follow also, the tradition doesn't change, the methodology doesn't change. That is true that we don't have a true monk in front of us right now. Not only we, even 300 years ago, Todarmalji was here and he also didn't encounter any monk. Otherwise, he would have written in his Moksha Marg Prakashak that I met such and such monk, you know. So it's nowhere there. So this is just because we are in a deteriorating time, right? But that does not say, the scripture says there would be true monks at the end of the fifth era, till the end of the fifth era. So we may not know those places. You know, if you go national park, you know, national park is in Bombay only.
yeah.
So if you go 4-5 kilometers deep into the national park, you will find dense jungle, forest, dense forest. There are Adivasis residing over there, you know, and it's a true jungle. So going 5 kilometers from the city level, you encounter such jungle. So if you go on far off places like small villages and all, there are dense forest, you know, and those places there are true Rishi Munis, monks residing. There is a whole community of householders also residing over there. Although we are not knowing those places right now, but that doesn't mean that it does not exist. It exists. Only thing is that we are not finding it right now. Okay, but that will continue to exist. Maybe not in this phase, but in the next phase, you know. So 21,000 years is this fifth era, and we are just at 2,500 years. So for another 18,005 years, there will be monks here in Bharat Kshetra. Okay, so there will be existence of monks. Right now, we are not having any in front of us. That's a different matter. Okay,
So the monks that are there in the Mood Digambar Dharm are like right now that lot of like temples show like their pictures. Are they also not real monks? Like, how do we?
so that is what I'm trying to tell you, that you go and check how do they take the alms. You check. Okay, you will find that it's all planned, and you know the householders also doesn't take food on a day-to-day basis, which they can offer to a true monk. So Shuddhita should be there, you know. So it's a total ecosystem that should be there in that place. There should be householders like that, and there should be monks also like that. Okay. So Maybe not right now, but we should look for, and if we find, we should always try to get it in touch with those kind of monks. Okay. So, but we have got Jinvani, right? This Jinvani is written by Kunkund Acharya Dev, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, Uma Swami. They were monks. So, indirectly we are in touch with monks only, but directly we are not in touch. That's we can say a tragedy for us, you know. So, but anyways, whatever is there is there. Okay, we have to carry on. So this Jinvani is always instructing us, and if we follow the Jinvani, we are in the company of monks only. Okay, because this Jinvani is written by the monks, and we follow them, then we are under their directions only. So that is how we can manage. The next is 10 virtues. So we are not going to discuss these 10 virtues and the next chapter, that is 12 contemplations. We straightway go to page number 153, 22 kind of hardship. These two are homework because we have complete paper on this, 100 marks paper on Das Dharma in the second sem and Bara Bhavna in the third sem, I think. Right. So we have already studied. So you have to study as a homework. Okay. We'll move on to page number 153 in the English, 334 in, Hindi, it is 348. Okay. So these page numbers are Hindi. At the top is the English page number. 22 hardships. Okay. So this is again hardship in the life of a monk, parishaha. So there are two things. One is parishaha and one is upsarg. Okay. So parisha is something that is because of natural calamity, and the monks undertook these hardships on their own. Like in the winter, they will go near a river and do meditation. In the summer, they will go at the top of the mountain in the afternoon and meditate to check their strength, how much they are able to focus on themselves. Okay. So these are the 22 kinds of hardship that monk undertakes on its own, and some of them are due to natural calamities. But the upsarg, that is called afflictions. So we have deviated two words. We use affliction for upsarg and hardship for parishaha. Okay. So upsarg are man-made. Okay. And they are done by, kind of enemies, those who are not followers of monks. They inflict these afflictions on the monks, like Mahavir Swami and Parsunath Swami. The Kamat, the soul of Kamat, he inflicted Parsunath Swami, monk Parsunath, he was a monk at that time, with this kind of afflictions, even Mahavir Swami also. So those are the things called afflictions. We are right now talking about hardships. Okay. So they are the outcome of natural calamities or undertaken by monk himself to test his spiritual strength. Okay. These are the exams that monks undertake on their own. Okay. So 22 hardship, very interesting discussion. We will discuss one by one at a time. Roshni, you have read, no? Who's left? Jia, you read.
Yes, sir. 22 hardships. After discussing the causes of stoppage of karmic influx somewhere, namely restraint, carefulness, righteousness, and contemplation, we now come to the topic of afflictions, parishahas. The relevant aphorism states, to avoid deviation from the path of stoppage of influx of karmas, and for the sake of dissociation of karmas nirjara, the ascetic must endure the following hardships with equanimity. Here are the 22 hardships: Shudh hunger, Pipasa thirst, Sita cold, Usna heat, Damsa masaka insect bites and stings, Naganya nakedness, Arati discomfort restlessness, Stri temptation by women, Karya walking long distances, Nishadya sitting for long periods, Saya, uncomfortable sleeping conditions. Akrosha, verbal abuse. Vad, physical assault. Yachana, asking for arms. Uh, Alab, lack of gain or not obtaining what is needed. Rog, illness. Trinasparsha, contact with thorns, grass, rough surfaces. Mala, filth, dirt. Satkar, purushkar, praise and honor. Pranya, false pride due to intelligence. Agyan, ignorance. Adarshan, lack of spiritual insight or obstruction to right vision. A liberation seeking ascetic endures these hardships with a tranquil disposition. Enduring them with equanimity itself is called conquering them. This is why they are known as a victory over hardships.
Stop. So you see, enduring them with equanimity, very important word. Enduring them with equanimity itself is called conquering them. Okay. So enduring them, sahan karna, it's like winning over it. Okay. So winning over it with the help of practicing discriminative knowledge is true victory of hardship. Okay. Conquering them. Just not only simply enduring them, सहन करने को नहीं कहते. सहन करना मतलब here it means जीतना. Okay. So it means जीतना here, conquering them. That is why they are known as Parishah Jai. Jai means victory. Victory over hardship. So there are 22 kinds where the monks, they undergo this kind of things and they come out victorious over this with the help of practicing discriminative knowledge. Okay. Like, Adinath Bhagwan, he went for alms. So initially, after taking initiation into monkhood for 6 months, he didn't go for alms. He was just into deep introspective meditation. Then he felt hunger, so he went for seeking alms. But for 7 months and 9 days, he didn't get the alms. So in total, the fasting was 13 months and 9 days. And then he got the alms. So all these, so he will go for seeking alms. He will not get the right method for getting food. So he will not take. He will come back and again meditate. Okay. So again next day would go. So this is the story, So this is called hardship. Why they went in the first place? Because he was feeling hunger. So he went for alms. But he didn't get the right process. So he came back and again he got into deep introspective meditation. That is called monkhood. So this is called victory over hardship. So hunger, thirst, cold, heat, they endure every kind of hardships. Okay. So this is their practice. So we'll discuss two at a time. Madhuji, Shuddha and Trusha, Pipasa, thirst. First two you discuss. Read. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Hmm.
Done. Shuddha, victory over
Shuddha.
hunger. 1 minute, sir.
Hemali, take it up. Next page.
Even in the extreme pain of hunger, to endure it with patience is victory over hardship of hunger. When an ascetic fast of faces of, is there double voice, sir?
No. Okay,
No.
it's all okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I'll just read it once more. Even in the extreme pain of hunger, to endure it with patience is victory over hardship and hunger. When an ascetic fasts or faces obstacles in obtaining food, the suffering of hunger that arises, if he does not become distressed by it and calmly endures it, that is victory over hardship of hunger. That is to make hardship instead of.
So that is the correction.
Efficient.
This green and
Oh.
red, this is the corrections that I dictated yesterday only. And I think you have taken from Google Drive, no?
No,
You have downloaded it?
yeah,
The previous I shared?
yes, sir.
No, I don't think so. Because this is the correction that we did yesterday only.
So I opened it from my folder over here.
Acha? I think there is some connections with Google Drive or some. Anyway, I have sent you a physical copy that doesn't. Acha, this is there in that copy only. Okay. ठीक है. So I think they have forgotten. So later on they must have written it because it's also in my printout, in your printout also. Okay, continue. You can skip the Hindi one. You can straightway under next page, meaning.
Yes.
Fulfilling
Fulfilling
austerity.
austerities like fasting and reduced intake when days, fortnights, and months pass and they go for ahar and still no uninterrupted food is received. Therefore, the limbs of the body dry up and become feeble. Even in such a condition, when the pain of hunger is unbearable, the ascetics endure it with calm without yielding even a bit. To those ascetics who have attained victory over afflictions of hunger, we bow daily at their lotus feet with folded hands.
Stop.
Two,
Stop. Okay, yeah, second one also.
yes, sir. Two, pipasa, that is thirst. To calmly endure the intense suffering of thirst is known as pipasa parishay jay. Its nature is clearly described as follows. The Muni's practice of collecting alms is entirely dependent on others, since they go to others' houses for alms and do not utter a word. In such a situation, if the alms are not compatible with their constitution, prakriti, intense thirst and great suffering arise. During summer, the internal heat, that is acidity, becomes excessively aggravated. Their eyes roll upward due to the heat. Even in such a condition, these ascetics do not desire water but endure the suffering with equanimity. Such an ascetic who overcomes the affliction of thirst lives victoriously in this world.
Stop. So you see the monk, when they feel hunger, they go for alms. But if they don't get uninterrupted food, they come back and again they start meditating. So for a longer period of time, just now we discussed about Adinath Bhagwan. So Adinath Bhagwan was very strong, so he could endure. But if nowadays, like if 7 months and 1 year passes, then the limbs of the body dry up and become feeble. So at that point of time, the monks practice discriminative knowledge, okay, and they come out victorious. Victorious in the sense that the drying up of body and the weakening of body doesn't affect their spiritual quest, their sadhana, spiritual practice. That is uninterrupted, and that is why they are monks. If they fell prey to this, then their stages of spiritual stages has come down. Okay, but that doesn't happen. They still maintain and they are able to win over this kind of hardship. Okay, so that was more or less same thing with water also. Monks doesn't have water separately. So while taking alms only, they take water. Otherwise, they don't take any other time water. So during summer, the internal heat becomes excessively aggravated. Their eyes roll upward due to the heat. Even in such a condition, these ascetics do not desire water. Forget about taking it, but they don't even desire water, but endure the suffering with equanimity. With equanimity means they are so much engrossed in themselves that the thought of consuming water, food doesn't come to their mind. This is called victory of victory over hardships. Okay.
Sir, I want to interrupt here. आज की उम्र तो कम है पहले के कंपैरिजन में। तो पहले जो 7 महीना 12 दिन किए थे ऋषभ देव जी, तो वो तो लंबी उम्र थी उन लोग की, इसलिए इतना
राइट
दे यूज्ड टू पुल। तो अभी तो जैसे 1-1.5 महीना करते हैं, 2 महीना
ये अभी तो करते हैं ना, अभी भी करते हैं ना,
हाँ,
साल
अभी
1
भी
साल का तो
हाँ
करते हैं, अभी भी
ये
करते हैं।
हाँ यस इवन दैट
श्वेतंबर
या
मुनि
गुड
बहुत करते हैं,
हाँ
श्वेतंबर
यस
साधु सन।
कर रहे हैं, दैट्स ट्रू।
तो वो
या
तो
दैट्स
सी भूखा रहना वो उतनी धर्म की बात नहीं है, लेकिन उस समय आप क्या कर रहे हो भाव से,
या
तो आपका आपका उपयोग कहाँ लग रहा है, दैट इज मोर
यस
इम्पोर्टेंट। तो monks do fasting just because they want to concentrate on the self, right? So if that is the purpose, then it makes sense. Otherwise, it is all in Hindi. It is word is called langan. It is called langan. It is not fasting. Okay, so that is not true fasting. True fasting is you first get rid of sensual pleasures, the
पैशन
toxic emotions, and you be in equanimity. Then it is called true fasting. Okay. Hmm. So another two, Seeth and Ushna, cold and heat. Who else is there? कौन बाकी है?
रेखा जी.
रेखा.
Yes, sir. When afflicted by a cold chill, not only must there be no attempt to resist it, but there should not even be a desire to resist it. To endure that suffering with a tranquil state of mind is victory over affliction of cold. Sheet Parishaha Jaya. Its nature is described as follows. Sir, I'll skip that, sir.
Yeah.
In the
Because that
winter,
is explained in the next paragraph. In the winter season.
okay, sir. In the winter season, everyone's bodies shiver, and during the rainy season, such fierce storms blow that even the trees standing firm are uprooted, and the swaying clouds pour down rain. In such harsh conditions, the steadfast and courageous ascetics, Muniraj, who have conquered the affliction of cold, sit calmly on the river banks and the embankment of ponds, burning away their karma and performing dissociation of karmas, nirjara. These ascetics who endure and withstand the severe cold with composure are called the savior monks who have conquered the affliction of cold. I'll read some
Fourth one also.
Yeah. Ushna, heat. When due to summer and similar causes, one suffers the unbearable pain of heat, yet does not get disturbed, nor even thinks of making or arranging any effort to escape it. That is victory over affliction of heat. Ushna Parishaya Jaya. Maliji, can you please? Thank you. When there is the torment of hunger and thirst, the intestines begin to burn and the body becomes marked with blisters. The summer sun blazing like the summer sun blazing like fire, along with the scorching hot winds, causes severe burning. Even the mountains become heated. The body feels inflamed. Acidity is aggravated, and fever arises from the burning sensation. In such ways, the affliction of heat is endured by the ascetics, sadhus, who bear it all without losing their patience or composure.
So during heat and during cold, both the situations, these steadfast and courageous monks, they conquered this hardship of cold and hot by way of practicing discriminative knowledge. So when you are extracting happiness from the inner self, you are so busy in that experience of happiness that this cold and hot and doesn't affect them. That is called victory over hardship. So victory is only possible when you practice this discriminative knowledge. Okay. So when you are practicing this descriptive knowledge, you are busy engaged in experiencing the eternal bliss. And when you are busy at one place, of course, the other things get secondary or it becomes neglected. Okay. And that is how, or it is ignored. And that is how you win over this hardship. Another two, 5, 6, dansa masak. Okay. And the next one is nakedness. These two. Again, Roshni.
Should I start from Damsamasak?
Yeah.
When bitten by gnats, mosquitoes, flies, and other insects, not only is there no retaliation, but not even the slightest sorrow arises in the disposition. That is victory over the infliction by mosquitoes and insects. Damsamashak Parishe. Its nature is described as follows. Flies, mosquitoes, and gnats bite the body, and various kinds of wild birds cause pain. Poisonous snakes and scorpions sting, and many kinds of insects, kajure, torment the body. Lions, jackals, and tusked animals attack. Bears and other wild creatures inflict great suffering. The Muniraj who endured such afflictions of bites and stings, may they help alleviate our karmic impurities of merit and sins. Nagnya or nakedness. Just as a newborn child is naturally unclothed and without any sense of shame, a Muniraj should adopt the naked form without even the slightest hesitation or embarrassment. This is victory over the affliction of nakedness. Nagnya Parishe J. This nature is described as follows. Worldly beings engrossed internally in sensual desires and externally afraid of social shame cannot adopt the supreme Digambar form. But those ascetics who uphold vows and conduct conquer even this most arduous hardship of nakedness. They live unperturbed and fearless, like an innocent child. We offer our salutations at the feet of such ascetics who have achieved victory over affliction of nakedness. Nagnya Parishe.
Yes. So first one is because these monks mostly they dwell in the forest and there are many wild mosquitoes, flies, gnats, animals, है ना? And poisonous snakes, scorpion stings. So they do get afflicted by these insects sometime or the other. But again, they have to practice discriminative knowledge. By dint of practicing this descriptive knowledge, they are able to win over this. Win over this means they remain unaffected by these external impacts. Okay. So whether it is a case of uh, insects, mosquitoes, or scorpion stings, and any other kinds of insects tormenting the body, lions, jackals, tusked animals attack, bears and other wild creatures inflict great sufferings. So the monks are fearless. Why, on what basis they are fearless? On the basis they consider themselves as a pure soul and the body is not mine. And in Apurva Avsar, Srimad Rajchandraji says that if the lion is coming and eating up my body, then he is a friend of mine. Why is a friend? Because I consider body not as my own part. So this is something that I want to renounce. And lion is helping me in renouncing that. So lion is my friend. So that's how the contemplation goes in the minds of those who are learned people, because they consider themselves as a pure soul. So they are easily able to discriminate between this kind of affliction, this kind of hardships. The naganyaness. So Muni is there is no hesitation or embarrassment because they know that they are pure soul. The body that is there, it's not there. So on that basis, they will never feel embarrassed or any kind of shame or on that, because they consider themselves as a pure soul. So this is how they are able to conquer this kind of hardships. Yeah, Himali.
So I wanted to ask you that they are not fearful, because they know the difference between Swa and Par, but also because of Krambat Paryay, no, sir?
Yeah, Krambat Paryay also, right?
Going to happen.
All the principles, because they know that if there is a rise of unpleasant producing karma, that will bite me. And if there is no right, let it be there. Many animals around, they keep on meditating, and those animals also doesn't disturb them. So in the dense forest, if you go, like in Sikharji, Sikharji, if you go not from the main stream where every people climbs, if you climb from a different trajectory, you will find there is deep forest over there, and there are naturally animals like monkey. We've seen monkeys only, but in places there are lions, tigers. Everything is there in wildlife. Everything is there. There are sanctuaries. There are national parks. All these places. They stay over there, and they don't disturb. If you don't disturb them, they don't disturb you. That's the principle over there. But if you have some past connections with something, then they will come and afflict you. There is no doubt about that. But they are fearless, and they also have firm belief in the principle of Karambat Paryay. Then they are into Bhed Vigyan. Then they know knowledge, Gyan Gne. So they know knowledge and knowables, right? So all this help them in practicing discriminative knowledge. Okay. So winning over the hardships. Okay. So now the seventh one is Arati. And Arati means discomfort and temptation by women. 7 and 8. Hemali.
Arati, discomfort. Even when there are numerous causes for discomfort, Arati, to remain deeply devoted to the path of self-restraint, samyama, is known,
Sanyam.
is known as victory over affliction of discomfort. Arati Parishay Jai.
Arati.
Arati.
Like and dislike. Rati and Arati. Okay.
Arati Parishay Jai. Due to the influence of time and place, various forms of displeasure or rati arise. In such circumstances, the people of the world become scattered and agitated, abandoning their stability in a state of turmoil. When such affliction of discomfort or rati parishay arises, the steadfast ascetic saints, who with their great calmness uphold patience and emerge victorious over the affliction of discomfort, may their names reside forever in our hearts. Stree temptation by women. When, despite being obstructed by women and being allured in various ways, there arises no desire to look upon their form or to embrace them, this is known as victory over affliction of temptation by women, Stree Parishay. Its essence is made clearer through the following poetic verse. Those heroic chief men who grasp the mighty lion, who seize the king of serpents and bend him with their hands, whose mere glance from their slightly curved brow causes millions of warriors to be humbled, to bow and begin chanting in submission. Such men may be capable of lifting mountains and bringing forth the storm winds of destruction. Yet they are overcome by vague sexual instinct with women, men, and bisexual quasi passion, that is, lustful desire arising from the allure of women. However, blessed are those valiant ascetic heroes, the ascetics whose minds do not tremble even before such enticements.
So we have a very famous story of Seth Sudarshan, who was a monk, Bhavlingi Muniraj, and the queen of the kingdom, he told her subordinate that you go and bring that Seth Sudarshan in my palace. So that's what we call Sakhi. That Sakhi means the friend of that queen. So he kidnapped Seth Sudarshan and brought it in the palace, and he was naked. So the queen wanted to have sexual relations with him. So he said that I am what you call important. He said, I am important. So the queen left her, and this is how he won that hardship of, Stri Parisha. So first of all, the description that given by those heroic men means they are so brilliant, they are all good warriors, but when it comes to uh, lustful desires, they submit to those lustful desires. That is what they uh, want to explain here, that lustful desires are so strong that even the bravest of brave warriors, they submit to those lustful desires. But our monks, they are uh, uh, they are so blessed with valiant ascetic qualities in them, that whose minds do not tremble even before such enticements. Sita tried to disturb the Ramchandraji when he was meditation in his next birth. He was uh, Sita became Prati Indra, Dev, and then he came down to afflict Ramchandraji, disturb his meditation, and Ramchandraji was undisturbed. So these are the hardship that they endure, they win over this kind of hardships, are the true monks. Arati was again about discomfort. So frankly speaking, there is no discomfort at the monk level. They are so expert in practicing discriminative knowledge that even in adverse situation, they turn into an opportunity. For them, it is an opportunity, because they are able to practice their best. You can say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Similarly, our monks are so expert in practicing discriminative knowledge that even if at the highest level of discomfort, are not able, they don't deviate from their meditation, they don't get affected by such discomfort. And in those situations, they exuberate great calmness, uphold patience, and emerge victorious over this kind of hardships. So this is what a true monk is all about. Now, last two we are discussing for today, up to 10, and then we will continue the next week. 9th and 10th, I am reading myself. Again, the word affliction has been used many times, but it would be hardship. Hardship of walking long distances. Charya Parisha Jai. To wander alone like the wind, moving fearlessly, even in dreadful forest, like a lion, and to remain unperturbed, even when sharp stones and pebbles pierce the bare feet. This is known as victory over the afflictions of walking long distances. So the forest, the land is not, like we have here in our streets. So there are some stones here and there, and sometimes it pricks them also, but still they win over this kind of hardships. The ascetics, while walking carefully, inspect the path ahead, 4 hands in length. Do not allow their gaze to wander here and there, because if some small insects come here and there, then they will cause violence. So they are so uh, careful in their walking also. These composed ascetics, bearing the discipline of careful movement, Iriya Samiti, place their tender feet upon the harsh ground without considering it as infliction. They do not recall the days when they used to ride elephants, horses, or palanquins, because all these monks earlier were king only. Okay. In this manner, when the ascetics endure the inflictions of walking, they break the great mountain of firmly bound karmas. Okay. So this breaking of the great mountain of karmas is due to the practice of discriminative knowledge that they practice, all the time. And because of that, they are able to win over this kind of hardship. The 10th one is Nishadya Parisha Jai. hardship due to sitting for long periods at one place, not becoming disturbed or shifting from the seat once adapted. Okay, even if a lion will come, if a tiger will come, the monk would not shift from his place, because he has taken one place to sit and meditate. He will be still there. This is known as victory over the hardship arising from enduring the seated posture, because they have taken a samayik, no? So they will not move. They will not move from that place. Dwelling in caves, cremation grounds. Okay, sometimes they will go inside the caves and meditate. Sometimes they go to the cremation grounds and meditate. Sometimes at the top of the mountain or the hollows of trees, tree cavities. They are cavities where the monks sit and they practice meditation. Wherever they reside, they first purify the ground. There, for a fixed duration, they maintain a motionless body and do not repeatedly change their posture. So this is one when they practice this. When they practice equanimity or the meditation. Even when calamities arise in the form of cruel torture from non-living or living beings like animals or humans or skeletal beings. So this is actually the affliction. When human beings do such things, then it is called afflictions. They do not abandon their place. They remain firm, absorbed in steadfastness. May such ascetic masters, victorious over the affliction of chosen posture, dwell within my heart forever. Okay. So again, they practice this discriminative knowledge. When the afflictions are happening, they never lose their composure. Their focus is on the self only. We read this story of Vishnu Kumar Muniraj. 700 monks, they were being afflicted by fire, and they were all engrossed in themselves. They remain engrossed in themselves, and Vishnu Kumarji then left his monkhood, became a householder, and with his skill, he averted that afflictions on 700 monks, because he has that power of changing his postures, and that's how he saved those 700 monks, but those monks were engrossed in them. The 5 Pandavas, they were also into meditation pose, and uh, somebody put hot hot jewelry on their head, and still they were into their deep introspective meditation. The elder 3 manifested omniscience knowledge and got liberated, and the younger 2, they had this auspicious thought of what would have happened to elder brothers, and because of that thought, they went to become celestial beings for a long period of time, just with that thought, auspicious thought, that also. But these 3, they never deviated from their meditations. So this is how they win over, and this is what they do everyday practice, and with this practice, they attain this perfection, and when there is something coming up like this, they are able to win over those kind of hardships and afflictions. So we have covered up to 10. Our time is over. So we will continue next week, continue from 11, and then we'll proceed further. Okay. So we got a good glimpse of the life of a monk, and the underlying cause is the shelter that they have taken of their pure soul. And we also feel motivated that if they are able to endure such kind of hardships and afflictions, we don't have such problems. We have got all the comforts in our home here. We can very well practice this kind of discriminative knowledge. Okay. So we also get motivated. Okay. Any questions? No questions? Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 times नमोकार मंत्र। बोलो द्वात सांगमयी जिनवाणी माता की।